this podcast is dedicated to some aspects that we can find in strategy or even in ground strategy. So those aspects are presented in many abstract strategic game because they are important and they constitute, in fact, the foundation of strategy. Some of them are present in Go game. If we can see them as basic strategic aspects of the game, it's also in reality aspects of the reality. What I mean with that, remember that in the Second World War, Japanese used Go game for their invasion in the Pacific Ocean. So the idea was for the American to learn that game and to find an efficient counterattack. So let's see some aspect. One of the most important is certainly the connection, because when you have your stones which are connected, it's a way to find a shape which can be a living shape. So the connection is a very good point, but if you only connect your stones, you will waste time. So the idea is to find something which looks like an equilibrium, but at the end it's more or less harmony. So you have the connection, and on the other side you have the cut. So in fact is to opposing the connection of the enemy. So you want what at the beginning? You want to stay alive. A way to stay alive is to have at least two eyes, because it's a way to avoid an attack from the enemy, because the suicide is impossible. But if you can't have this aspect, it's better than death, of course, to have a seki. A seki is a mutual life. And what does it mean? It means that if you make your move, the other will win. If the other makes the first move, you will win. So there is exactly an equilibrium, so a neutrality about the territory, but it's better than death. Death is what? Is exactly when you lose your stones. So if you want to lose them, it's possible, because you can make a sacrifice, but you have to take care of your stones because they are important in many aspects, not only as stones and as units, but also as the boundary of your territory. Your territory is in fact a shape on the Goban, and one way to attack a territory is, of course, the invasion. So the idea of the invasion is to put inside another territory of the enemy, of course, a shape which is a living shape. So with this way, you reduce the gain of the territory. But in another way, if you can't do that, and if you can't go inside, so it's impossible. Imagine that you can have an invasion, but you can choose, in this case, the reduction. The reduction is to use another way, the influence from outside of the structure, to reduce the zone of influence of the structure of your enemy. So it's very important because it's a way to control from outside the structure. So the reduction sometimes is construct on what? On the moves which are calling Sante, and they allow us to provoke a gote on the other side. So this is a kind of initiative, and on the other side you have force moves. So the way to use this from inside and outside, imagine this in the Pacific Ocean. Imagine all these islands. Imagine that in this abstract model, they are looking like stones on the Goban. So the idea is to use this kind of aspects to apply them in reality and to get new results. Why? Because it's an innovative way of thinking. So we have a very old strategic game, but its application is tough, difficult, and you need to be sharp to find an efficient way to apply them. So the idea is, if you can use this in a war, in a fight, or even in Kung Fu, it's possible to do what? To added value to your own value and the way and your vision of what we call a war.